All right, Shalom Yasharala. This great millstone, New Orleans. I'm the brother Amawad.
And the brother Tazadak Aram.
We're coming at you with another lesson. But before we get started, as always, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to
Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash.
Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the hopeful elect. So, as you see from the title, we're just going to go into how you're not to be an old bottle in this truth. And, the Spirit had it, with two of the older brothers in the camp, and through the Spirit, it's a lot of Israelites all over Louisiana. That's, Baton Rouge, Lake Charles, wherever. You're an Israelite. You see these young men on the streets, and, a lot of you are intimidated. You don't believe that men that are half your age should have more wisdom than you. You know this is the truth, but you feel embarrassed. You feel a certain type of way. And, we're just living examples. You're going to have men that are older than you that know more. You're going to have men that are younger than you that know more. You need to humble yourself in order to come into the truth. The Lord is not dealing with old bottles. So we're going to start with Luke 5 and 36.
Okay. Luke chapter 5 and verse 36. And it reads, it said, then Yahushua gave them this illustration.
Luke, are you in the NLT?
Yeah. Okay. You want the KJV. Salaki.
Okay.
Luke chapter 5 and verse 36 in the KJV. He said, and he spake also a parable unto them. No man putteth a piece of a new garment upon an old, if otherwise, then both the new maketh a rent, and the piece that was taken out of the new agrees not with the old.
Right. So, when you get a nice new outfit, you don't mix and match. You don't take some old pants and, put a brand new shirt with it. You don't take a old garment and then match it with something that's old. It's off. You get a fresh outfit that's all head to toe. All right. This truth is likened unto a white garment. Keep going.
Verse 37, and it reads, it says, and no man putteth new wine unto old bottles, else the new wine will burst the bottles and be spilled, and the bottles shall perish.
God, this truth is likened unto new wine. This is the best wine. All right. Yahushua saved this wine for last. As it is written, I've set forth the apostles last. This wine that we're saying, this is the new song. And it's better than anything our people have ever heard. You're the chosen people. The Lord's dealing with you. Our enemies are going to be made our footstool. This is the best song that our people have ever heard. You can't put that into an old bottle. All right, you old civil rights jakes that want to get water hose so that you could sleep next to the white man and go to his schools and hold hands. That devil Michael King, he had that speech written by a so-called Jew saying, "Oh, I want my black babies and white babies to hold hands."
Yeah.
That's you old bottles, man. Y'all ain't gonna make it, man. But those of you that actually know this is the truth, you're not supposed to cleave unto the old way of thinking.
That's it.
You got Jake that find out the Israelites and they still going to church. Got the old phone book Bible.
Still talking about Jeebus cross.
Yeah.
Still love oppression. Still love the so-called white man. And one thing about we constantly telling them left and right. Saying this is the way. Walk ye in it. But you say, oh no, man, I love everybody. You know what I'm saying? The Lord love everyone. And they just still in that same mindset to this day. The colonial plantation gospel. You got it, man.
Yeah, the church Negro.
That's it.
That old sweaty Baptist coon spirit.
The nigger like.
Yeah.
Hey.
The Lord's not dealing with that. That's an old bottle mentality to have. When you come into the truth, you have to empty yourself and become a new creature. That's the only way to receive the Holy Spirit. That's the only way to be saved. Keep going.
That's it. Verse 38, it said, but new wine must be put into new bottles, and both are preserved. Verse 39, it said, no man also having drunk old wine straightway desires new, for he says the old is better.
Right, and that's a lot of our people, man. The old is better. I like that Christianity. I like sticking my head in the sand and just believing that everybody's equal. The so-called white man is my friend. Times have changed. That was in the past.
That's it. Everyone just get along.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That stop all this foolishness. Let's quit talking about it. You know what I'm saying? We're not even worried about it.
Yeah.
So, they don't want recompense. They don't want judgment. They want everything to stay the same. They love the crumbs off of Esau's table. But we got this new mindset. We ready to rule. If you're not ready to rule, you're getting ready to die. You got it, man.
That's very true.
That's it.
It's one or the other. There's no in between. You're either you're going to have a ruling class mentality and you're going to want to rule over the heathen, or you're going to die with the heathen.
That's it. You act like a heathen, you're going to die like a heathen. The Lord make it plain and simple. If you're not seeking the Lord, then you're seeking death.
Get Proverbs 16 and 31, Baba Kusha.
Okay.
If you got anything, you can bring it up.
Okay. Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 31. Salakia, when you scroll down to it. You know, just like you just got a lot of House of Saul niggerlights right now. You know, so we'll start here. Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 31. It says the hoary head is a crown of glory. Said if it be found in the way of righteousness.
Right. So, you know, you jakes with you got your gray hairs, you're older in age, you want people to call you elder, you want people to call you sir. Your years in the world don't mean anything. All right. Your age only counts if you have experience in righteousness. Read that again. All right.
Okay.
So you went off it.
No, I'm right here. Proverbs chapter 16 and verse 31, it said, the hoary head is a crown of glory. So if it be found in the way of righteousness.
If it be found in the way of righteousness. So if you're just an old nigga, you've been an old nigga your whole life, you can't come around young men that are learned and have experience in the truth and start talking about, oh, I'm older than you, I'm pulling rank, I got this on you. No, that's an off spirit to have.
That's
right?
it.
We all came into the truth, you know, I came in late 30s, some brothers coming in their 40s. You got to really look at this as I'm a new creature. I'm a child. There's no other way to come into the truth.
That's right. That's what the Lord said. You know, come in as a child. You know, no matter what age you come in, you know, you got to humble yourself. That's what's wrong with a lot of our people. You know, they got a great pride, and also you got a lot of old fools are just walking around here. You know, just experiencing all sorts of madness. You know, and nonsense. You know, they thinking they know something. They still acting like what nigger likes. You know, that's what they acting to this day.
Let's get that Matthew 18.
Okay.
Because that's straight to the point.
All right.
I wish I told you the only way that you can come into the truth, man. There's no other way. You can't say, well, look, I went to this university, I have this degree, I done been on the streets these many years, I know more than these young whippersnappers. That's the off spirit, man. If you've been a nigga for 40 years, you have 40 years experience being the exact opposite of what an Israelite man's supposed to be. Now you have certain experiences that you can share with brothers that can be edifying, but overall you got to pipe down. You got to let men that are aged in the spirit lead you.
Where you want me to start at?
The top, 18 and 1.
Okay. Well, I said I don't know where you want to start at the top or. Okay. Matthew chapter 18 and verse 1. It said, at the same time came the disciple unto Yahushua, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? Verse 2, he said, and Yahushua called a little child unto him and set him in the midst of them. Verse 3, and said, red letter, Yahushua speaking, it said, verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Verse 4, whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven.
Right. So he said, this is Yahushua. Those red letters, right, Art?
Red letter. You speak.
So our Lord and Savior is telling you the only way to come into the truth is to be as a little child. You can't be in the spirit, I'm a grown-ass man. You can't tell me nothing. Little children don't behave like that, man.
I tell you, man.
You have to be willing to be corrected, because every single one of us, when we come into the truth, we're rough around the edges. We have certain infirmities. We have bad habits. We have the way of the world that's still on us. The world is on you when you come into the truth. You may watch some Hebrew Israelite videos. You may be reading the scriptures, but you still have habits of a man in the world that has to be rebuked off of you. And men that actually love you, men that are your brothers, they're going to rebuke you. And you can't look at it as this man in his 20s. He can't tell me nothing.
Can't tell me nothing. I'm old enough to be his dad. I'm old enough to be his grandpa. What can he tell me? I have lived life. I experienced more. Yeah. But when you come into the truth, just like you said, you know, you got a renewing of the mind. You know, so you know you got to let go of that that old man and put on what? The new man.
Yeah. This truth is the first time that we learn how to be brothers. So when you come into the truth, you don't have any experience being a brother. You might have experience having relatives in the world. You might have a biological brother. You might have some niggas you went to school with that you're still cool with, but you don't actually know how to deal as a man of the Lord according to the scriptures. This is something Esau calls it on-the-job training. Right? You're learning as you go. So if you've never been in a camp before, you've never been around righteous men, you don't really know how to walk. So you can't have a spirit of, I know, I got it. I know everything I need to know because I'm so many years old. That's off, man. And all you jakes that watch the videos and you sort of kind of believe and I would come out, but I don't know about it.
Yeah. Shame to speak out. Afraid that, oh, I'm too old. I really, I don't know how they may accept me. Those all are demons. You got to let all that go. You know what I'm saying? And come under the brotherhood, just like I had to adjust to the brotherhood. I had to learn, all over again. You know what I'm saying? I thought I knew something. I didn't know a damn thing. I come up under the brother. You know what I'm saying? They taught me the way, the brotherhood, So now, this is the right way to go. We can't like, oh, I'm older than him. Well, I'm the oldest man in the camp. They can't tell, Israel. I'm the king. You know what I'm saying? But you can't come with that. This pride. You know what I'm saying? Pride before destruction. But we got a lot of prideful devils. We've been seeing right here in our own backyard. Very prideful. They been in the truth for 5 minutes. And think they know more than the elder, and pretty much know more than King David and Yahushua. You got a black wicked devil, so-called black wicked devils, in this truth right now. But the Lord is constantly exposing them, and He's going to unalive a whole lot of them. You got it, man.
Yeah, a lot of prideful Israelites are being humble.
That's it.
This year has been a doozy, and you can see pride. Pride doesn't get you anywhere, Jake.
That's it.
One thing about a child, as Yahushua was saying, you have to be like a little child when you come into the truth. Children don't walk around in pride. They don't walk around thinking they know everything, man.
That's it.
Children will ask a million questions. That you answer a million questions, you got a million more.
That's it. It's no wrong answer.
Boom, boom, boom.
I better not say anything. I better wait. You got to ask questions,
Yeah.
You can do something ill advised. You say, why you didn't ask? Oh, I thought you can't be doing that. You got to get the right way to go.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just like I say, you look at things like a worldly, but we got to be spiritual when we come into this truth. Oh, they ain't gonna like me. Oh, I'm too old. I'm country. I'm this. All kind of stuff go through your head. You got to know. I'm what?
Yeah, we got all kind of demons in Louisiana, man. Oh, I'm country. They city boys.
Yeah,
they city boys. Like just
we
from Jerusalem, right?
That's it, man. You don't care how we talk. I might talk like a white man. You know what I'm saying? Shalom. How you doing today, man? Man.
Brothers don't care, man. If you're from Lake Charles, Hammond, LaPlace, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, like Jake really look at New Orleans like, we from Jerusalem. Like that's the first thing you learn when you come to the truth. We're not African American. We're not New Orleanians. All right, we're not New Yorkers, Californians. We from Jerusalem, man.
Yeah.
So all of these demons you have, I can't be around them. They from this particular city, this parish, because we got parishes here.
Yeah.
None of that matters. When you come into the truth, it's about being a brother. It's about presenting your body as a living sacrifice. It's about being studious, learning the scriptures, and ultimately glorifying Yahushua. Right? Because everything in the world is about glorifying yourself, uplifting yourself, boasting in yourself, promoting your own name. This truth is the first thing that's really about, putting yourself completely out the way and giving the glory to Yahushua.
That's it. That's what it's all about, Yahushua. And the sacrifice, that, he made the ultimate sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? He died for it. You know what I'm saying? So it counts. We use Yahushua as the example. He showed us how, be brotherly. How to love one another. How to, to coincide with one another. That's, it's love. You know what I'm saying? There ain't no pride and, I'm better than this person. I feel like, I have these gray hairs. You need to listen at me. Someone can come in at the age of 10 or 12 and just, be on it. So just like what what's his name? Jeremiah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The Lord can, hey man, it's just a beautiful thing. I got a quick precept.
Okay.
Psalm chapter 119 And verse 83 said, "For I am become like a bottle in the smoke, yet do I not forget thy statutes." So, right here, just like I say, a lot of people, that old bottles, what I'm saying, sometimes they will forget. But if you become an old bottle, you got to kind of like examine yourself. You know what I'm saying? You got to, you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people, that, feel that like they spirit a little bit old, or they might feel like that, that my spirit a little kind of different from theirs, but the Lord, we come from all different walks of life. So we got to get over that, and come under that total subjection to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua. You got it, man.
Absolutely. Give me John 7:2.
John 7:2.
Yeah, because we're rapidly approaching the end of this. If you haven't noticed, and if you've been watching Great Millstone videos, you should have noticed that all hell is breaking loose around the world. World War III is escalating. The MOTB is escalating. We don't have time for you to sit on the sidelines another 5 years or however long you've been watching videos. Now is the time to get in gear, man. Double time. B times, as the scriptures say. You got it?
You want St. John's 7:2?
Okay.
All right. St. John's chapter 7 and verse 2, it said, "Now the Jews' feast of tabernacles was at hand." Is that it?
No, so
That's what I was looking at. I don't know if this is the right one.
that might be 1 John.
It might be 1 John. Salakia. Let's go to 1 John. But so you come into the truth, a lot of times, you might not know, not used to being around a lot of group of guys right off, sometimes, people might have that lone wolf spirit on them, so when you come into the truth, you got to be able to get with the brothers, get the brothers to know you, learn, it's a venting process, to go. You can't be in the area, I'm used to speaking, I'm used to doing my own thing. You got to let that go when you come into the truth, so these things right here, we have to learn, and follow the example. Once again, it's Yahushua, learning brotherly love, how to be true brothers, in this truth, the house of David, so that's what we're constantly doing, refining ourselves, we putting off the old and constantly putting on the new each and every day, that renewing of the mind.
It's verse 24. Salaki.
All right. 1 John chapter 7.
No, it's St. John 7, but it's 24.
No. Okay.
Yeah, that's my bad. Salaki.
No, okay. St. John chapter 7, you said? 7 and 24. All right. One moment. St. John chapter 7 and verse 24. And it reads, it "Judge not according to the appearance,
That's it.
but judge righteousness, judgment."
Judge righteous judgment. God. So you're not supposed to judge a man based on how he looks. And this goes both ways. If you're an older man, you're not supposed to judge a young man thinking, oh, he can't know nothing, he's half my age. But it also works in reverse. If you're a young man, you can't look at an older man and say, oh, look at this old nigga. Look at this, he can't know nothing. He an old bottle.
You don't know nothing.
Yeah, he got gray hair, so Jake has a lot of assumptions in the truth, man. You can't be presumptuous. You can't judge a man based on his physical appearance. You could judge a man based on his countenance. If he looks like a demon, 10 times out of 10 he's a demon. But if he's a little bit older than you or a little bit younger than you, you can't judge how wise a man is just based on his physical appearance in this world. Because you have brothers coming into truth at a very young age. You have brothers that's coming in at the last minute. So you got to judge the spirit by the spirit.
That's exactly right.
You're gonna have men that's old physically, but young in spirit. You have men that's, you got baby face elders, man. You got men that look like they in their mid-20s. They've been laboring for 20-some years, man.
That's it.
The Lord he deals with variety, man. All right, there's not a one size fits all. And depending on where you are, what city, what state, you may have elders in your camp that are younger than you. And you got to get over yourself, Jay. That whole, I know it, I'm a grown-ass man, that's a demon.
You got to let it go.
You're not a grown-ass man. You just found out you're an Israelite. You are not a grown-ass man.
That's it.
You don't even know how to be a man.
That's it, man.
You got to learn through Yahushua, man.
You know, it's just like, a lot of people don't know who they are. They don't know who their true power is. They don't know what time they were living in. A lot of people still going around saying that Jesus Christ. I love me some Jesus. You know what I'm saying? The Lord love everyone. Everyone can be saved. Don't know even what time they were living. Don't know about the mark of the beast. Don't know about Jacob's trouble. Still listen at what Pastor Porkchop is saying. Reverend Lowdown. You know what I'm saying? Everything is all right. The Lord is going to bless you. The Lord told me this today. You know what I'm saying? Those old bodies, that what you call that King Saul spirit. You got it, bro.
Yeah, and that's the exact opposite spirit to be in. And you jakes you watch Hebrew Israelite videos because you like seeing people get cut up. You like seeing the black woman get rebuked. You like seeing us talk about royalty and these things. But then you also like the Christian church because it makes you feel like you're at one with your family. You got that family man spirit on you. The Carl Winslow Israelite thing, like you just want to be dad of the year. So you hopping back and forth between righteous vibration and just being an old nigga, man. The Lord's not dealing with that. You got to choose either Yahweh Shem Yahushai or the world. There's no in between.
That's it.
But you got another one?
Not right. I was looking for something, but you got something else right quick.
You got the other app with the Apocrypha. You can get Wisdom of Solomon 4.
Okay, Wisdom of Solomon 4. Let's go there.
You can start at verse 8.
All right.
8 and 9. Yeah. Because, again, in this world, when you get one of these jobs with Esau, you come on a job, you might have somebody younger than you that's training you. And if you buck up, it's going to be out of order. But then Jake will come into the truth and just be a complete reprobate. Not giving brothers the same respect you would give Esau on the job. That's off. You got it?
You said Wisdom of Solomon even 9?
Yeah. No, chapter 4, verse 8 and 9.
Okay. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 4, we'll start at verse 8. Mm-hmm. It says, "For honorable age is not that which standeth in length of time, nor that is measured by numbers of years."
Right. It says, honorable age is not that which standeth in length of time, nor that is measured by number of years. So your honor is not based on how long you've been on the earth. All right. You could have been on the earth just wasting your time, being a nigger, getting high, just wasting everything the Lord gave you. Keep going.
Verse 9, it said, "But wisdom is the gray hair unto men, and an unspotted life is old age."
Unspotted life. Now, in this truth, you learn that our life is extremely spotted. The only way that we're blameless is if we have the blood of Yahweh Shai Mashiach. If we were to be judged based on the law, we'd all be dead. All right, we grow up eating pork. We grow up committing adultery. We grow up like this brother was going into worshiping Jeebus, sweet Jeebus.
That's it.
We're defiled completely. So the only way to be spotless is to have the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and to have faith in his name, to have faith that he died for our sins, and ultimately to have faith that he's coming back. And when you have that faith, you're going to be surrounded by other men that have that faith. You're going to be like-minded, and you're going to be a part of a body, a brotherhood that's jointly fit. And the only way to do that is to put away your pride and put away this idea that you think you're this great nigga because you did this and that in the world. Oh, I was a big stepper. I was part of this fraternity. Yeah. I traveled to this country. I went to this university. None of that matters. Absolutely none of that matters when you come into the truth. It means absolutely nothing. Apostle Paul said, "What I count it all dumb."
Yeah, that's it. Just like the Lord said, it said the wisdom of this world is foolishness to him. You're not seeking his wisdom, it's not his understanding. You know what I'm saying? The Lord, he look at you just like a brute beast. And you gonna be total disregard. The Lord gonna when he come here, he gonna put you in that lake of fire. You know what I'm saying? Hey man, the Lord is not playing around. So a lot of people, walking in great pride, self-will. Do thy will spirit. Right, left, and can't tell them anything. Scoffing and mocking. You know what I'm saying? I don't believe this. I don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? The Lord is not coming. You saying this left and right to her. You know what I'm saying? Steady being rebellious. You know what I'm saying? You can't tell them anything. But when all this time of trouble comes, the Lord said in Proverbs chapter 1, I think around verse 27, he said, "They shall seek me early." Yeah. With the Lord said, you say you ain't gonna find him. So we coming upon that time. So it's really basically the Spirit is bearing witness. Whether you old or young or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever, you can look like a heathen nation, but the Spirit is going to bear witness. Let's get that right quick. Let's go there. I think that's Romans chapter 8.
God.
Let's go there right quick.
God.
Because the Spirit bear witness. You know what I'm saying? Whether you old or young, or you look like a heathen, you look like you crazy, whatever. You know, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, so the Lord, the Spirit is bearing witness. He don't care what age you are.
Yeah,
you know?
that's beautiful you said that, because in Proverbs 1, it also tells you he's going to laugh at your calamity. He's going to mock when your fear comes. If you have the spirit of, I can't learn from these men because they're younger than me, keep that same energy when all hell breaks loose. Don't try to find a camp now. Remember, we too young. You know everything because you old, so you got it. All right. If you're too prideful to come out to camp and humble yourself, then keep that same energy when all hell breaks loose. Don't look for us. Don't be like, oh, I've been watching you guys for years.
Yeah.
I've been calling on the name. Oh, okay.
That's right. And there's a lot of these wicked nigger likes. They think because they know the name, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, that hey, I got full access. No, it don't work like that. You know, it's right here. It says here, Romans chapter 8 and verse 16, it says the Spirit itself bears witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Almighty, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. So one thing about it, that, you know, it don't matter what age you come in, you can be 70, you can be 80, you can be 50, you can come in 10, 11, 12, 20s, your 30s. You know what I'm saying? One thing about it, you know, it's the spirit, you know what I'm saying? If your lineage go back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, no matter what age the Lord bring you in, you know what I'm saying? The spirit is gonna show forth. This truth is gonna resonate, you know, and regardless, just like I'm, you know, in my early 50s, you know, and this brother, you know, he's right along there with me, you know, so, you know, we got to be able to get on. I might have an elder, might be 19. What did this young man can tell me? You know what I'm saying? This man, the hell, he you know, what the hell are you trying to tell me something for? You know what I'm saying? So we got to get off of all that, you know, we got to, you know what I'm saying? It's the spirit that bears witness, you know, and one thing about it, you know, we know that we're getting close, you know what I'm saying, to this time of trouble that we've never seen before. We know that great tribulation is coming upon us, you know. And one thing about it, you know, the Lord already said that in that day, you know what I'm saying, you shall know who are my chosen. You know, you give them what age you are, how you look. You could look like a heathen nation. The Lord is, you know what I'm saying, it's showing forth all this. Things are constantly being exposed. Things is constantly, you know what I'm saying, it's more prophetic now. You know, we're seeing right now that if you don't think that we're living in the end time, then you're a damn bugged out old bar. You got it, man.
Yeah, you finished. If you can't see we're at the end, the Lord's not dealing with you at all. And if you are somebody like, again, because this video, ultimately, 2/3 aren't going to get in anyway. This is for brothers that are sincere, that may be a little bit older in age. You kind of on the fence. This is to exhort you to stop playing games and take your salvation seriously. And understand that the Most High woke you up in your proper order. If you can give me 1 Corinthians 15, okay. It started at 22. Because a lot of Jakes, I know myself personally, I know every brother I spoke to, when we come into the truth, we always wish we would have came in earlier. Like, man, I wish I would have known about this when I was 18, 19. I wish I would have grown up in the truth. I wish I would have known about it sooner. But, you know, you can't let that weigh you down. You can't let that make you ashamed and afraid to come out, because the Lord actually wakes up every man in his own order. You got it? Okay,
1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 32 say, if 22 Salakia. 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 22. And it reads, said, for as in Adam all die, even so in the Hamashiach shall all be made alive. Mm-hmm. Verse 23 said, but every man in his own order.
In his own what?
In his own order.
Every man in his own order. Every man has an allotted time that he's going to wake up and come into the truth. And that's all a part of your story. That's all a part of your life. All right. The Lord actually had us lose our heritage and be discontinued from knowing who we are so that we could be woken up in these last days. So you can't scoff at the Lord and say, well, look, that man, he's half my age, but he woke up earlier than you. The Lord had him wake up first. That doesn't make you better than him or worse than him. We're all fighting for the same penny. But it does mean that there's order. That man has more experience in the truth than you. He's been learning and teaching the scriptures longer than you. So there's an order. And the longer you wait, the more bugged out you're going to get. You watching for 5 years, like, man, now I'm scared to come out because it's been 5 years. 5 years turning to 7 years. Now you're just a church nigga that know you were Israelite.
That's it.
And you're going to be destroyed.
That's right. That's why the Lord said, keep not silent. Warn them from me. If you're afraid, or you scared, you see something, you're supposed to say something. You know what I'm saying? One thing about it, Lord ain't dealing with weak, effeminate men, someone that is afraid. I'm too old. I'm afraid. I think I don't speak that way. Lord ain't giving a damn about none of that. You know what I'm saying? Lift your voice up like a trumpet. Get this word out. You know what I'm saying? Warn them from me. Get on their asses. Don't give a damn if you young or old. You know what I'm saying? And one thing about it, the Lord is dealing with men. You're not dealing with no weak, scary, effeminate men, up on a mama's boy, someone that's whining. Get the job done or get gone. That's what the Lord is dealing with. The Lord said he called you to be a soldier. You know what I'm saying? One thing about it, hey, whatever come, all the way to the finish line. When we read this again, 1 Corinthians chapter 15 and verse 23 said, but every man in his own order, Hamashiach, the first fruit, said afterward, they that are of Hamashiach at his coming.
Right. And Yahushua is coming. All right. We're not going to be making videos forever. We're not going to be on the block forever. The Lord's already shutting down certain avenues of the truth. Pretty soon, a lot of these channels are going to be deleted. And, whatever knowledge you've been able to obtain up until that point, that's what you're going to be left with. You don't have a body. You don't have a network. You don't have a brotherhood. You're just an old nigga that knows he's an Israelite. You're going to be destroyed. And the Lord's going to magnify your fears. You're going to be terrified because he gave you the truth. Now, what did you do with it? You thought you were too good for the truth.
That's it.
You thought you were too old for the truth, too cool. You know too much. You've been around the block too many times. You couldn't be reproved and you couldn't be as a little child. So the Lord's going to kill you as an old ass nigga. That's what's going to happen, man.
That's it.
So,
I got something on it. You want to go to the comic board? I love something on this comic board. I like to say shalom to everyone on the comic board for joining us on this live. Shalom.
Shalom.
For all the precept, edifying the body. We'll start here. I'll read them all, let you break down some. I'll break down some of it. We'll start here first with Ken Purvis, Matthew chapter 10 and verse 34. Said, I think not that I am come to send peace on the earth. I came not to send peace, but a sword.
Yeah, you hear that? You family man Israelites. All right, you Jakes, you old ass Jakes that think, okay, the whole family's going to come together in Jesus' name and we're going to sing kumbaya and all. No, man. The Lord said specifically he's going to set a man at variance with his father-in-law, his mother-in-law, his brother, the daughter. Your family members are going to be split up because some people believe and some people don't.
That's it.
Some people were chosen by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua and some weren't. It really is that simple.
That's it. So a lot of our people, thinking the Lord gonna come, with hugs and kisses, passing out, saying, I'm here now. Everything is all right. The Lord said he come not to bring peace, but a sword. That sword goes into what? Judgment. So that the Lord is getting ready to bring forth that judgment like you have never seen before. The Lord is getting ready to unalive a lot of wicked Negroes, a lot of wicked Eves, a lot of wicked Latinos and Native Indians. Because you are that same rebellious house that did not want to return to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, whether you young or old. When you go to Ezekiel chapter 9, I think around verse 4, you know what I'm saying? So the Lord, your ass is getting marked one way or other. Marked for salvation or you marked for death. That's so right. Let's see what else we got here. Same brother, Ken Parvis, 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and verse 7 said, everyone that shall be saved and shall be able to escape by his works and by faith whereby ye have believed.
Right. So by works and by faith.
That's it.
Not just saying you believe, not just pushing the thumbs up button. Oh yeah, I know those guys. No, man, you got to make your body a living sacrifice. You got to show yourself friendly. You have to be a brother. That's the only way to be saved.
That's it.
Faith and works.
Hand in hand. Let's see here. Nyquam 777, he's got here Job chapter 15 and verse 16. He said, how much more abominable and filthy is man which drinketh iniquity like water? You got it?
Yeah. That's, again, you niggas that know you're Israelites, but still want to be niggas, man. Jay got a love affair with black culture.
I'm telling you.
And it doesn't really matter how old you are if you've been a nigga your whole life. All right, if you're 20, if you're a YN, and you have all this experience being a young nigga, you could put that off and come into the truth. How much more if you old? You really should know better. You got niggas that's old, still thugging, still sagging. Yeah, you heard me. Just being an old ass nigga, man. You got it.
Okay, get this about brother Allah on the bad Shalom. GMS Allah on the bad 144 Shalom. He got here Ecclesiastes Sirach 42:8 said, "Be not ashamed to inform the wise and foolish and the extreme age that condemneth with those that are young. Thus shall thou be truly learned and approved of all men living." So, so whether they will hear or bear, whether they young or old, it does not matter. You tell them the truth, you bring it out. If they can't bow down or come under their elders, whether they're young or old or whatever, you can't be scared to speak out. You got to tell them. Some people, just like I said, old bottles, they are used to the same thing over and over. They used to, they're what you call it a comfort zone, and they don't want to get out of that comfort zone. They want everything to be happy-go-dory, what I'm saying? But this truth is, it's about what? Lamentation, mourning, and woe. It's going to be a lot of things that you're not going to like. It's going to be something that's going to be a bad taste in your mouth. I don't want to hear anymore that is hate speech. This is that, whatever. You can't be afraid to speak out whether they're young or old. You got to give them this word, that's where we at right now. Whether they will hear or whether they will forbear.
Yeah, you're an old bottle if you set in your ways. All right, this truth is all about being uncomfortable. It's all about adjusting to new things. All right, the scriptures, the understanding of the scriptures is our comforter. It comforts us to know that there's an end to this. It comforts us to know that Yahweh Shai is on his way back. But this truth, other than that, man, this truth is highly uncomfortable. You in the flesh, your spirit is fighting against your flesh. You're surrounded by heathen. You know who you are. You know who they are. You know how, a family's supposed to be ordered. These women are out of order. Everything about this society is completely uncomfortable for an Israelite man in his right mind. That's why it says in Ecclesiastes, what is that, 7? That oppression maketh the wise man mad.
That's it. So
if you in the spirit of being a Baptist Jake, an old church coon, you're not a wise man. You're going to be destroyed. But this brotherhood, man, this is the comfort that we have. Being around like-minded men that have understanding, knowing that you're not crazy for believing that the so-called white man needs to come out of power. The majority of our people, they just cooned out, especially old niggas. They're done. You can stick a fork in them.
It's over with.
So if you're an older Jake and you believe on the name Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai and you believe in his marvelous light, you need to stop playing, man. Come out to the camp, make yourself known, and make your body a living sacrifice that you may be delivered out of this destruction, because we don't have long.
That's it. Just like I say, you get your house in order. Get your mind right. Let go of them other thoughts. A lot of people, right now, they're thinking about their bank account, their reputation, what they have, their family, they're eating good right now, they're drinking good right now. But it's going to come a time of trouble that we have never seen before. When the Lord called, a lot of has not answered because they thought maybe they had a reputation. This person, what I'm saying, I don't want to deal with him because he don't have this, he don't have that, or he look like this, or he look like that, But, Lord is breaking all those barriers down. Wisdom and knowledge should be the stability of time. So one thing about it, either you get on board or you gonna get left behind when the Lord returns. You got it, brother.
Yeah, that's all I had.
I guess it's up to you. You want to go a little further with whatever.
Sure. Now, Apparatus out of point has been made. A lot of you old Jakes it's past your bedtime. No, I'm just joking. But, through the Spirit, the point has been made. If you are Israelite, regardless of your age, it don't matter because the Lord woke you up when you were supposed to get woken up. So now it's time to show yourself a man and stand up to this devil and stand up for Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. So with that, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai Bashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.
Shalom. Shalom to everyone to come aboard for jumping alive, for water, for all the precepts. Shalom.